Hello, everyone. My name is Emma Houston. I'm happy to meet all of you guys. I hope you're all doing well. I'm here today to chat a little bit about bubble skincare and some research that I've conducted over the past 8 weeks. This research will be very surface level as it's only 8 weeks, just kind of touches on the top and doesn't give enough time to go fully in depth. But I will try to talk about as much as I can that I've gone over the past 8 weeks. Um, I would love to have the opportunity to dive deeper into ways that the brand can ensure that the target audience and demographic is being hit, and other points that I will touch upon throughout this presentation. Um, like I said, 8 weeks is not that long of an amount of time. So it has been very interesting, and I would love to learn more. Just as a quick timeline overview for everybody, as we go through the various research steps and review what we've learned throughout the process, we'll begin with an executive summary, simply just an overview of the whole process that was done, any steps that were taken for this research, and just kind of a quick touch on what outcome we have seen through this research. Then we'll move into some basic background research and information. Continuing on, we will have a little chat about more in depth on both secondary and qualitative research that was explored through this data collection process. Finishing that out with highlighting what were the key findings through this research and explaining more in depth how that can help Bubble Skincare grow as a brand and as a company. And finally, we will talk about what potentially could be the next steps to continue on this trajectory that Bubble is currently on for growth, and just finding ways to continue to grow and ensure that Bubble is really at the top of their industry as they are right now. We want to continue with that and explore ways that their target demographic will see their products and be intrigued with their products and want to learn more and everything on that note. Just as a bit of background for you all, Bubble Skincare is a new skincare brand that began really was into the industry around 2020. It has quickly taken over the industry by storm, and it continues to grow as a company. Bubble must expand their consumer knowledge, however, that it is a clean ingredient skincare brand. As a brand that is most often used by male and female in the teen demographic, it's important that teens and teen guardians know that this brand has strictly clean ingredients. Teen skin is so sensitive and so fresh and new that you don't want to use harsh chemicals and harsh creams and moisturizers on that type of skin, or not only will it create more acne that as teens you're already acne prone, it will just continue to make the skin as they get older more fragile. And you want to make sure that as a teenager, you're doing the best that you can to make sure that your skin is growing and healthy and hydrated at all times. This will be done through both online surveys and through small focus groups. These two ways of discovery will allow for Bubble to find the best route to teach people about their brand, as well as get feedback on existing brand elements that they've already come through with. Opening opportunities to find the outlets that are used by teens, as well as learn what makes a teen want to have a purchasing decision, is what will be explored more in depth throughout our process today. Topics such as social media, influencer marketing, and in-store campaigns and packaging details are things that I would like to in the future explore more in small focus groups and through surveys, and kind of getting to hands-on show teens what it is that Bubble is hoping for the future, and kind of see what they like and don't like of what Bubble has currently, and see where things can expand and grow on that front. As many of you probably know, every company has a business challenge that needs to be addressed and overcome. The business challenge that was explored with this round of data research was addressing just how Bubble Skincare can find unique ways and competitive advantages that will appeal most teen audiences, both male and female, with an emphasis on the use of strictly clean ingredients. This was done through various methodologies that were explored to create a framework on where to begin this research. The data methodology that was explored were online surveys and in-person small focus groups. Online surveys allowed for a broader reach to talk with customers who are from all different walks of life, different geographical locations, and different weather conditions. And weather conditions might not seem like they have such a big impact on your skin, but if somebody has dry skin, then they might need somewhere to live somewhere with more humidity. If somebody has very oily skin, they don't necessarily want to live somewhere that's so dry. Just small things like that you wouldn't necessarily think that have such an effect on your skin and your skincare products that you want to choose from. So it's good to have feedback from all those different places, and that can give you a more broad scope of information. Feedback will be vastly different from each of these demographics because they will each be affected directly and differently by environmental factors, meaning in different terms of different products and systems that will need to be used to satisfy customers in certain locations. The first point of action that I took while conducting research was researching where that teens might consume visuals and advertisements from. As stated from Sunny May, a chat survey is an online survey that gathers information from users through conversational interactions, presenting questions one at a time, and adjusting based on the user's previous answers. Unlike traditional surveys that use structured questions through links, chat surveys offer a more dynamic and interactive user experience. Chat surveys can be used through conversational questions that can be asked quickly and easily. I liked this idea of online chat surveys because not only does it allow you to easily gather background information on the target demographic, but it also allows for a researcher to have more of a friendly conversation, especially with a teen. If you don't automatically have their confidence and they know that they are not scared to speak with you, to talk about how they truly feel, they might just give you one word answers. They might stay super quiet and not give you what you're looking for. But if you can really break that barrier, then it will allow for teens to want to speak with you further on these topics and products. Bubble Skincare is science-backed to prove that their stance of using all clean ingredients. And I think that this transparency is super important because it can show the impact that certain products have on youthful and sensitive skin. As stated in one of our research documents, the brand proudly labels itself the first modern, affordable, science-backed skincare formulated specifically to clean, balance, and hydrate teenage skin. It's accessibly priced and ranging from $12 to $19. Having the ability to hydrate and clean skin without being harsh on any skin barriers will allow for better conditions of your skin in the future. And this data connects back to the brand's MPO because it's allowing Bubble to learn who is buying skincare products and what type of skincare products are most important to this demographic, meaning that if they know that certain types of products are more important to certain demographics in certain areas or regions, then they can make sure to market that product towards that region and ensure that these people are remembering that it is clean ingredients and it is clean products for people, not only just teens, but for everybody, but to especially start in the teen realm with that. For Bubble Start as the brand, the company has grown 1,000% year over year through online sales and has had over 800% spike of in-store sales. I felt this was an important point in the research that I did because many teens are shopping in stores, whether that be with friends or family, rather than going online. Many teens do not have access to a personal credit card to create online purchases, and ensuring that there are advertisements for this brand when a customer walks into the store can help pique the interest and persuade a customer to want to make a purchase. When you walk into a store and you see bright colors and colors that evoke a certain type of emotion, that can help make somebody want to purchase that brand. And as social media is growing and younger generations are being more highly influenced to create purchases based upon what they're seeing with their favorite influencers, that can help also create a purchase. If a consumer is seeing their favorite celebrity or influencer shopping in-store and buying this product, they will also want to follow along on the trend and do the same of going in-store to purchase this product. There were many key learnings that I have found throughout this research process, but the main point that I wanted to talk about today that I found in my learning was that I found quickly just how precise that we must be with wording when creating a survey or questionnaire of any type. The person's interpretation of certain words or actions can be different, creating different data outcomes. For example, in my survey that I did, one of the questions was, how often do you do a skincare routine? For me, this question means, how often do you use types of facial care, moisturizer, toner, face mask, eye brightener, etc.? However, with feedback, I learned that for some people, this means how often do they put lotion on their skin? How often do they use sunscreen? How often do they wash their face? How many different, and there's so many more different ways of interpreting the same question. By adding a small blurb or a small description of kind of where you want the answer to go or what type of answer that you're hoping for, I think giving more exact examples of responses that you're looking for allows for the user who's answering these surveys to be more specific and allow for a more controlled data result. And controlled as in that you want to know how often, or in this case, we want to know how often that people use facial care products, not types of lotion that you put on your legs or your arms or your body, just strictly facial care, that this is the type of target that Bubble is trying to meet. And being able to see where that data is being the most specific as possible will help to kind of wind down and whittle down where you need to really market yourself. Another key learning point that was found through research is just how often that a parent, guardian, aunt, uncle, or friend is purchasing a product for someone else within this target demographic of teenagers. This means that Bubble must ensure that not only are they targeting advertisements and emphasis on clean ingredients to teens, but to also those who may be making a purchase decision or backing a teen's purchasing decision. From experience with packaging to advertisements to just overall customer experience with the brand, gathering feedback on all these points through surveys and focus groups will allow for Bubble to grow appropriately within their target market. Some research data that was found, this is just really a bird's eye view overview of what kind of questions were asked and where the data kind of landed with those questions. Some of the questions that were asked was, how likely are you to choose a product based simply on packaging? And a lot of the responses for that question was somewhat likely. As a teen, that is what they would look at first, is the packaging, and then they would potentially look at the ingredients. So I think that packaging is super important if you're maybe not going to be able to get them through learning that it's clean ingredients. Some of the other questions that we asked was, how important is it to you to know every ingredient? And this question definitely changed based on how old the person was that was answering it. If it was a parent or a guardian or somebody purchasing for a teenager, they kind of had a much more of, that was a scale of a 5 being more important for them. Same with on how important is it that you use strictly clean ingredients. The higher percentage was on from people who were kind of understood more what that meant potentially and really cared about the ingredients that they're putting on their face and not as much the packaging or who else is using it and that type of things. One of the other final questions that I had asked through this survey was, are you typically buying products for yourself or for your child? And this allowed to see where a person was purchasing the most, if it was for themselves, for a spouse, a child, or other, a niece, a nephew, somebody they babysit for, anybody in their lives. As we have now only really scratched the surface of what needs to be done to ensure that Bubble continues to grow on the trajectory that it is currently growing, many steps do need to be taken. However, I think that the first steps that should be taken is to continue to conduct small focus groups and continue with customer surveys so that you're receiving feedback and knowing maybe where to upgrade things or maybe things that aren't working anymore, and make even small tweaks to ensure that customers are continuing to stay happy. Using specific locations to try out new products for certain demographic areas, whether that be products that will be good for certain weather conditions, certain stores and postal services that are available in that area. Um, the last step that I think should be taken is just to continue to explore social media campaign outlets and influencers, whether that be better to post on TikTok, better to post on Instagram, better to post on Lemonade, any site that a teen is going to see. Those are really where they should be making sure that they're posting and getting content out. These steps, while some may seem they can be easy, they are catalysts for great growth and a big climb for Bubble brand. So staying on top of those things will definitely help this brand continue to grow. Just as an overall brand, just as an overall summary to this, Bubble brand can take advantage of the use of social media to spread the word for the need of clean ingredients. And looking at data, these teens are often purchasing for themselves within stores, and having a large presence on social media as well as a large presence with visual campaigns in stores will help to intrigue the younger consumers to make a purchasing decision. While mobile skincare is still really in the early stages of development, it's only a few years old. This brand has lots of potential for growth and opportunities, and just the the opportunities are truly endless for where they can take this brand to go and how big that this brand could become. So that's all that I have for you guys today. Please let me know if you have any questions, but thank you for sitting through and listening to the research that I've done. And yeah, thanks again.